Hey guys, Thrasher here. Limit breaking characters in Dragon Ball Legends. What is it? How does it work? How far should you limit break each character? We're going to cover it all right now. Let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I want to cover is in this game you never actually get a character. So if you do an event or you do a summon, you're not given a character. What you're actually getting is Z power for a specific character. So at different amounts of Z power, the character will get certain buffs. At 100 Z power, that's when you actually acquire the character. So it's very possible that you do an event where, say there's a new Super Saiyan Gohan that comes out and it gives you 20 Z power. It's not giving you a Super Saiyan Gohan, it's giving you one of the pieces to eventually create a Super Saiyan Gohan. So with that being said, let's sort of go through what happens as you summon different characters and what the different levels of limit breaking are. So when you get to 100, that's your first limit break. That's when you actually acquire the character. When you get to 200, that is the 1-star limit break. So as you can see in the chart right here, at 1-star, 2-star, 4-star, and 6-star, you get a 5% base stat increase. So one of the things I want to point out is that you get a 5% increase to the base stats, not a 5% increase to whatever their stats were before. So it is kind of diminishing returns. And the other thing to look at here is when they're not getting a stat increase, they're getting a Z ability upgrade. The thing is, these Z ability upgrades are not as powerful as people think they are. So a good example is the well, any of the Gokus, for example. They have abilities that increase either defense or damage by a certain percentage. So it could be a strike defense, could be blast defense, could be strike damage. Most of them are somewhere in the 19% range when they start, and if you happen to get them up to 7-star, they go up to 25%. But here's the thing, that is not a 19% damage increase. That's a 19% increase to the stat. So there's all kinds of other modifiers that go on. So in reality, you're not getting a 6% increase. You're not going from 19% to 25%. So that's something you have to factor in. In reality, you're probably only getting a 1 or 2% damage increase. So that brings us into our next question. How far should you limit break each character? And it really depends on the availability of the character and the power of the character on your team. So obviously, characters who are on your bench who you don't fight with, you only have them for Z ability. You want to get their Z ability as high as you can, but you also have to factor in your own resources. So let's say that you have a hero unit on your team who's increasing your strike damage. I would say in reality, you don't really need to go past 3 stars. At that point, you've got the Z ability pretty much as close as it's going to get damage wise. If you were to spend the resources to get to 7-star, it would only increase the buff that the ability is giving you by 1 to 2%, and it's going to cost you about 15 times as much Z power. So it's going to cost you whatever type of resources you spent to get that Z power, it's going to cost you 15 times as much. So if it's an event that you have to farm and it's going to give you more Z power just by farming the event and you don't have anything else to do and you just want to use the energy on that event, do it. But if it's a summon where you have to spend crystals, I would not go past 3 stars for a Z ability unit. Now, if it's a fighting unit that you are going to be actually using in battle, I would say you can get by on 2 stars. In reality, 2 stars is not a huge difference. It's definitely not a huge difference from 3 stars, and it's probably not a huge difference from 4 stars because of the diminishing returns. So you're at 110% base stats at 2 stars, you're only at 115% at 4 stars. So you have to kind of factor in how you get those stars. So if it's a summon for crystals, those are very expensive. I wouldn't suggest doing that. If it's something that you can farm, say for example Spirit Bomb Goku, maybe you can go to 4 stars. Me personally, I sit at 2 stars with Spirit Bomb Goku because I think the difference compared to the amount of resources I'd have to spend is not worth it. So that's sort of where I sit on that side. One other thing people are not aware of is that the different summons by different unit type do have different Z power that they get. So if it's a hero unit, they'll get 100 Z power when you summon them, each time you summon them. If it's an extreme unit, they get 250, and if it's a sparking unit, they get 600. So the first time you summon a sparking unit, they'll immediately be at 2 stars. If you happen to summon them again, it's now at 1200, so it'll be to 3 stars. It'll limit break to 3 stars. And if you summon that sparking unit a third time, it will limit break to 4 stars. But what you see here is then it really starts to take a lot of summons to upgrade them past that, which is why I would say 2 stars is probably a fair bet. You could just stop there, but if you want to go to 4 stars, you just need to summon that sparking unit 3 times. So that's sort of where I sit when it comes to building your characters up and how far you should limit break them. So if you're a super whale and you're a min-maxer, take them all to 7 stars. But I would say 90% of the time, you want to just stop at 2 stars. That's plenty. 3 stars if the Z ability is really, really important. And that's really all there is to limit breaking characters and how you acquire characters in the game. So if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, throw them down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.